All right, now here's something you might have to earn your money for once over there, Brian, and Google-fy some because I refuse to believe what I'm hearing, even though they've sent documentation in the form of a printout of the ticketing maps and information and etc. But this is from Dickie. Oh, maybe that's his last name. There's a comma. Well, it's from old Dickie. And he says, I was listening to you discuss the low ticket sales for AEW Collision in Canada. I thought I can take my family, maybe help out this situation. But he says, I was blown away by the prices. And he has sent what apparently, and this is what I want you to Google. Try to buy a ticket for any of the shows. Oh, God damn it. I don't have both pages printed out here, but this may be the Hamilton, Ontario. But regardless, look up buying a ticket for one of these AEW Collision shows in Canada. This says they're $194.75 a piece, and this is not even ringside. It's the attached picture, he says, is the price for the bowl. Floor prices are the same for some reason, and there was like multiple pages of printouts of the maps, but the point is what they're doing is they're apparently charging the same amount for he calls it the bowl, the start of the permanent seating in an arena, where it's usually reserved, the stands, if you will, and then ringside's in front of that. In the middle of the ring, the price is the same for ringside and for up in the stands, but $100, because hold on here, this breakdown. Jesus used to be easier to buy tickets. Just walk up to the window and say, here's my $10. It's $165 Canadian for the ticket, and then $29.75 Canadian for the fees and taxes. Can this be possible?
I just sent you a link to open up because you'll be able to hover over it and see the prices available.
Oh, this is from... So I've got to participate in this now, too.
You do need to participate. It's not like an article I could just read.
And by the way, let me say that Dickie goes on to say the top level isn't available. They don't have it on sale if you want to get like a really cheap seat way up. But he says if I wanted to go with my family, with the service fees, it's over $900. Okay, and here's your link that I'll hover over, as they say.
And I sent you something, and I'm on the official Ticketmaster site. So the cheapest seats available appear to be, in Canadian dollars, $48.80. That's including fees and taxes.
Well, now he's supposedly, this is not Hamilton then, because he's in 119. I saw a different layout.
All right, so that's Toronto maybe.
Is it Toronto? But wait a minute, while we're on Hamilton, the tickets go up to $325 for the second row. And am I led to believe that this means there are only 2 tickets available in that row, or is that what that means?
Which row are you in?
All the way down to the bottom where it has the ticket prices on the left-hand side. They start at $46.
That's the cheapest, yes.
But wait a minute.
For row 5.
For row 5 through row 11 of ringside, and the map, wait a minute, floor 5, no. Floor 5, row 11. So the 5th section of ringside seats, which now is here, see, you have to go to the color-coded map, and if you move your little fucking finger, I'd like to give this whole thing the goddamn finger. But if you move your little finger on your screen over to 5, then it goes pink. And it says from $46. But now, according to what I'm looking at here, it says over on the left, in floor section 5, row 11, there's 2 tickets that are $46 each. But in floor 5, same section, row 16, which would be 5 rows farther back, it says 1 to 6 tickets, and they're $51 each.
Probably because you have more of a choice in the seat.
God damn, how much fucking different choice?
Well, front row's still available. They have up to 6 tickets available at $219 a pop in 4 or 5, row 1.
Well, yes, but okay.
Oh, and another 8 tickets available for $210 in 4 or 5, row 1.
But here's the thing. While it says that in section 5, row 1, there are 1 to 8 tickets at $210 and 1 to 6 tickets at $219. In row 2 of floor section 3, which is actually a smaller section and closer to the ring on this map, but in the second row, they're $325 a piece. So the front row tickets are over $100 cheaper than the second row tickets, depending on which section of ringside you're in. Could that be that they're in diving range? Like if you went to a Gallagher concert and got splashed with the watermelon? Is this where you might get kicked in the face by some idiot doing a fucking topi con gyro? So these prices are all over the place. The point is, am I way too old? And both of these things may be true. Am I way too old, or Brian, even a young, vibrant man like yourself, remembers when, okay, ringside costs such and such, and reserved seats cost such and such, and general admission cost whatever? Now they've got different prices for every row and different rows and different sections.
And I also just sent you an email with the Toronto prices so you can open that up. But, this is not just an AEW thing. This is a entertainment business, sports. A lot of families have been priced out of a lot of things. You can't go to a baseball game with a family of 5 and spend $100. You're going to spend $500 to do that.
Okay, here you the Toronto. This is the map that he sent me here. Because I'm looking at this now. And yes, he was trying to get in section 119, which is up in the stands, not even on the floor. And they are from $166. Because for some reason, these tickets have been labeled, am I seeing Platinum Lounge North? There's a Platinum Lounge South, but that doesn't seem to be available because that's going to be the hard camera side. How big is this fucking building? Is that all of the tickets that they have, or the seats they have opened up for this thing in this map? There's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 section in the stands and the floor that you can hover over, and it does anything. Is the whole rest of the building shut off?
I think, but then again, I also was under the impression the entire upper bowl was closed off, and according to this, there are 2 sections open.
That must be for the homeless people from $77. No, wait.
No, that must be something else. What are these prices?
Hold on. You can get in one section in the upper stratosphere of this building, section 322, from $77, and over on the other side, you can get in one section 310. It's in the same place, just on the other side. It's $106 from. But if you go through all these different fucking price levels of all these different sections and rows, and I mean, there's got to be 40 or no, I'm still going easily 40 different price tiers. The top one is $661. Row 1 on the floor north. But in when you hover over that section, it says from 226. And there's another floor north, row 1, 2 to 4 tickets, 661. Is this a package of tickets? How is this happening? What's going on here?
I am not. No, that's $661 each for those tickets.
Jeez, it does have an EA each. Yeah. Then why is row 1 in the same section $571 and also $443? And why is row 1 in the south section $409? What the fuck is going on here?
Well, again, I don't know if these are tickets directly from AEW or Ticketmaster, or these are through a third party who bought these seats thinking it'll be a hot ticket.
Vivid Seats. Well, I mean, didn't you send this to me from goddamn AEW.com?
No, I didn't go to AEW. I didn't go to AEW.com. But hold on.
What are you trying to? I need Soup My Express VPN up. If you're sending me this fucking bootleg shit, these may come with dead bodies in the trunk of a car. Where's the official place? It says vividseats.com, AEW Collision Ticket, Scotiabank Arena. But obviously, this is some scam they're perpetrating. AEW can't possibly expect to charge $600 for a ringside ticket. Certainly not.
I'm on the official Ticketmaster website, so give me a section. I'll tell you what's available here.
Well, start with the fucking floor. Floor North.
Floor North, nothing available on Ticketmaster. So those are all from a third party.
So, what moron is going to pay over $600 for a fucking ticket that what did they sell it for? Are the ticket price is still listed?
It does not still have that ticket price listed. If I go to Northwest, there's nothing, and I'm trying to see where there's a front row seat available. Nothing front row is available.
So AEW they have sold all of the floor seats, I'm sure. It's Toronto, for fuck's sake.
No, there are still floor seats available, just not first row.
Well, what do they charge for the floor?
Let me go here. The fuck's going on with this website? My apologies to the listeners. This
God, it's so
sucks.
difficult to fucking buy tickets to wrestling shows. Again, you know what? When I got tickets to Indianapolis when I was a kid, my mom agreed to take me to see Bruiser and Crusher at the Expo Center in Indianapolis. All we had to do, as Sam Mineker told us every Saturday night on TV, if we couldn't go to the Expo Center box office in person, just send $4 for each ticket that you'd like to any Ross and Babcock or Ross and Young store. They were men's clothing with a self-addressed stamped envelope, and they would send you back your tickets. And we got them in the mail, didn't have to leave the house. Only took like fucking 2 weeks.
Well, for instance, floor East 1, which is opposite the ramp, the closest available ticket, there is one seat available, row 4, seat 6, $289.25.
Jesus Christ. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe they're part of the scam because old Vivid Seats has seats in that section from $240. So they're selling them cheaper than AEW did. What the flying French fried titty fuck is going on here? Who are they appealing to? The opera crowd? Is there a Mensa convention in town or a meeting of industrial giants that multimillionaires that are going to go to this fucking show and pay hundreds of dollars for tickets to see something that's going to be on free television?
What do you do, though, if you're AEW? If you know you do have a fan base that, again, I'm not saying it's selling out the building or anything, but you do have a fan base that will pay a high ticket price to come there for the 6 hours of TV taping or whatever it is, that is Dynamite. On the other hand, if you lower the ticket prices, maybe, it's not a guarantee, maybe you get more families and more people coming in, but maybe the same people that would have paid $260 for one of these seats is now paying $50. What do you do?
And might bring 3 more people instead of fucking... The whole family breaks open all their piggy banks to send little junior dipshit to the matches for his birthday. He'll go alone, and he's only 9, so we'll probably never see him again, but we can't afford to go in with him. Ignoring the fact this is not Dynamite, this is Collision.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But again, ignoring the fact that this is an unproven commodity, a brand new show, and an oddly launched, rolled out, promoted event where, well, we announced the new show and yeah, it's going to be there, but who's going to be on it? Well, a bunch of wonderful names that we haven't been using at all, and we didn't have our big star on it. Now the big star's been announced, but at this point, and they're running low on time in Chicago to begin with, especially, but so ignoring the fact that this has been a rocky road of rollout for Collision, and people don't really know what they're going to be seeing or who all they're going to be seeing, past now Punk and some stragglers, in the days when not just territory days, but up until the modern generation, when any promotion, even the major promotions like the WWE, can't run a big building in a market more than once or twice a year, then maybe, that's led to the increase in prices because it becomes a special event and the people that are really dedicated will go and pay that. Whereas the previous economics in wrestling, the territory days, yes, the prices were cheap. They were very cheap. Although, if you look at a $5 general admission ticket 50 years ago, that would be somewhere around $30 or $40 now for general admission. So it's not that ridiculous. But those promotions were going for people to spend that amount of money every week or every 2 weeks or once a month. In the major cities, it was $7 or $8. And they did. Thousands of them. The territories promotions relied on a steady stream of thousands of people in their markets on a regular basis spending that money, and they couldn't overprice the tickets or then they'd fuck themselves. And in the long run, that's why you had $1 million towns that grossed, $1 million a year on fucking wrestling. And it didn't just have to be New York and Chicago, Memphis, Atlanta, Tampa, wherever the fuck it was. So that was one thing. Then later on, still in the modern era, the Attitude Era was, the prices were higher than they'd ever been, but they weren't anywhere close to this. And the buildings were selling out because the product was hot and they were also selling merchandise. If you make the wrestling tickets like a Fabergé egg, then yes, the most devoted fans, because you're only running, once a year now and build in. Tony, I think, is pressing it, maybe going back twice a year some places or whatever. But you can get the most devoted fans to pay that much money because it's only a once a year thing. But at the same time, then how much can anybody spend these days in terms of they got to park and they've got to fucking drink something. A hot dog is $8 these days. And you want them to buy your merchandise, but I've heard that the merchandise at AEW events is limited and really nothing to write home about as far as the display or the variety or whatever. But the theory used to be, let's hit the sweet spot. The people that want to be on the floor and want to be ringside, they'll pay the money. And that's where the WWE came up with the collectible take-home chairs for the pay-per-views. And that was the thing about that. An Attitude Era pay-per-view front row seat was like $200 to see Austin and The Rock, and you got to take the fucking chair home. The only thing you'll have to take home after this is fucking gas and a sore ass. But that's the thing. You hit the sweet spot. The people who want to be on the floor will pay whatever. And have a general admission ticket where the people that just want to be in there can do it with their wife or a couple kids, or they just don't have a lot of money. And then they'll do business with the building in terms of the concessions, the food and the drink, and they'll buy some merchandise. But if you're just trying to fucking hold them over an open flame like this, my God, how, this guy, Dickie, $900 to take the fucking family to see this, and it's going to be on television. I repeat again. So I don't see I don't know.
And in the long term, you can never figure these things out, but you wonder how this does change the ecosystem. If a father can't bring his kids, forget about his wife even, because I don't know how many fathers brought their wives back in the days, but
Actually, yes, there were multiple percentage of married couples, but go ahead.
Lots of single men at Madison Square Garden, but
lots of single men in New York City, but go ahead.
If a father brings his kids, potentially you create a new fan for the future. So, when I say you think about the ecosystem and how it affects stuff, a kid comes in there, it's like the first time you go to a baseball game and you see the You see the field. I mean, when you talk to people who used to only see the game in black and white, the first time you see the field in color, it's something.
I can still get goosebumps on my arms when I think about the first time I walked into the Louisville Gardens and saw a wrestling ring in person.
So imagine, you're a dad and you want to go see AEW and you want to bring, let's say, a couple of your kids. And that's the first time they're exposed to live wrestling. It's the first time they buy a t-shirt. They see some wrestler and it becomes their favorite wrestler for the next 10 years. That's what you want to create, because that's how you create more audience. But on the other hand, those tickets can remain empty for now. But if someone buys them, they'll pay the same price than that whole family would have if they were relatively fairly priced.
Well, and you got to think also, is a father with kids going to want to go to AEW, since that means he's had some type of sexual relations with somebody and he may have matured out of the AEW core fan base? But nevertheless,
I hadn't even thought about that aspect.
Yeah, there you go. But again, my God, this is more expensive than the WWF, right?
How much were tickets for the first show you went to in Louisville?
Ringside, everything on the floor. Whatever was on the floor was considered ringside. $4. Reserved, which was the first half of the stands in the gardens, $3.50, and general admission $3.
Okay, all things are not equal here, and I don't have an inflation calculator. But if ringside then had been $35, would your mom have taken you as easily as she did, thinking that it's just gonna be a $4 ticket?
Oh, good God, no! Because nothing cost $35 to go see at that point. I saw Earth, Wind, and Fire in the same building for $7. And that was 5 years after my first wrestling show. But no, think $35 in 1974, that would be the equivalent of like 200 and something bucks today, right?
So not crazy considering the AEW ticket prices.
But no, my mother spend $200 she wouldn't spend $200 on a ticket on the space shuttle to get off the fucking planet if the sun was crashing into the earth.
See, then you look at it the other way. I talk about a dad bringing his kids. I was a kid who wanted to go. My dad didn't like wrestling. I had to convince my dad to take me to wrestling when I first started going. So if there are kids out there, Dad, I really want to go to wrestling. Again, I don't know how many kids are watching AEW that way, but across the board, any wrestling. I want to go to wrestling, and the dad says, okay, this guy's a guy with a job. This guy has bills to pay, and he goes to see that it's more than his cable bill to go one night with his kid to see wrestling, which he's not even interested in. It may dissuade that person from doing it.
Exactly. Because, again, if they're not, and I mean, if these buildings are all full when these tapings happen, and I'm not talking about full for what they've got opened up, I'm talking about the buildings full, then we're obviously wrong and fucked up. But if there's a lot of room left in those buildings, maybe some people might come if they could get in for less than their monthly fucking rent. And I know that's Canadian money. But again, look at something in here before we finish this segment and move on. Look for something in, what's the tickets in the United Center? In Chicago, they got an NBA arena to fill.
Well, let me not look at that one, because that's not fair, because that's CM Punk's return. Let me look at Newark.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say, but here's the thing. If they got an NBA arena to fill up, and they got CM Punk in the main event, they've proven they can do it. But what were the tickets then, I wonder? Look at Newark if you want to. You're just New Jersey centered. You think New Jersey's the center of the world.
No, New York's the center of the world, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going. Again, there are limited seats available on Ticketmaster. But if I go to this Vivid Seats, let's see.
Well, now, wait a minute. Let's go back to the AEW. What is AEW authorizing these to be sold for? I don't want to know what some scam artist, what some grifter, what some con man, what some shady shyster in a back alley somewhere in the shadows
Holy
is pulling
shit.
out from under his raincoat and trying to pawn off on people. What is AEW trying to pull out from under their raincoat?
Hold on 1 second. Let me okay. First row's gone. Second row, I have second row ringside for AEW in Newark opposite the camera.
What's the date on this?
This is July 22nd at 6 p.m. And you could sit in a second row seat opposite the camera for $611.75.
Jesus Christ on a cracker!
Plus fees.
Plus, what is it? That come with a fucking rape kit from the local police department?
It does not say that here, but maybe they are open for suggestions.
I would hope they wouldn't have to pay for that too. What? And obviously, there's still some of those available.
There's 4 of those available on the official site. Now, if I go to the unofficial tickets...
You've been a resident of that area of the country for quite some time, all your life.
Yes.
You can get a fucking hit put out on somebody in Newark for $600, can't you?
I can't discuss anything. I would.
If you were a betting man, with no personal knowledge.
That sounds like Hollywood kind of stuff. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, come on.
Well, on the unofficial sites...
Well, I had a guy take me up on it one time, but fucking Russo's car pulled out of the parking lot. So go ahead.
Well, on the unofficial site, that section, the same section I saw before, you can get tickets from $253 to $3,966 for second row. $3,966 each for Floor J, Row 2, opposite camera in Newark. Who's paying $4,000 for a ticket for AEW Collision?
Okay, now that's the thing. Is this a situation, now that we know this, somebody's got to tell us. We get plenty of first-person accounts. Somebody send this in for us. Is it just a deal where the people are buying general admission tickets because these seat dealers, ticket brokers, whatever their term is, have these tickets and they're trying to this ridiculous amount of money for them. And if they don't sell, people are just moving into those empty seats on the floor. Is that because that's been a thing in wrestling for a long time? You wait until 10 minutes after the fucking bell rings for the first match in the old days, and the general admission people would start filtering down to ringside, sitting in the goddamn seats that weren't taken if they didn't have strict ushers. Is that what's happening? Because is there an AEW fan out there that thinks that you ought to pay $4,000 for a fucking second row ticket to a TV taping?
I can't imagine. I'm looking at these prices and it's kind of mind-boggling, some of these. If you go to Section 9, the tickets range from $149 each to $256 each.
Remember when we were talking about the ridiculous ticket prices they had for their spot shows in Corbin and Salem, Virginia, where we said, who in those markets is going to pay $75 to see FTR against Frick and Frack or whatever in the main event, and a cast of others? Many others was the biggest name on the card. And we were laughing because those were like $75. Can you not go to see like goddamn Madonna for $4,000?
Well, I don't know if she's the one you'd want to go see, but...
Well, I'm just saying, I'm trying to think of some exorbitant, self-absorbed douchebag that would charge a fortune to get into her fucking shows.
Well, Springsteen jacked up his prices notoriously.
Are you calling Bruce Springsteen a self-absorbed douchebag, and you being from New Jersey?
I'm not from New Jersey. I'm from the South Shore of Long Island.
Well, you own it now, pal. You've got a significant portion of real estate up there now.
But I'm not near Thrill Hill or wherever the fuck Springsteen is, and yeah, he's kind of a pretentious fake, so I really don't give a shit about Bruce Springsteen.
All right, well, people, give us some reports on these ticket prices if you go to these events or things that are happening.